Do you remember when every battle for the Iron Throne could change the fate of Westeros forever? That may have been fantasy, but for some of the cast, the greatest battles were painfully real. One star feared she would never speak again. Another vanished into 6 weeks of rehab, while another was left with less than $5 after a heartbreaking divorce. They got fame, but fame couldn't save them. Join us as we reveal the real story behind the Game of Thrones cast. Let's begin with Kit Harington. Did you know that just before auditioning for Jon Snow, Kit Harington got into a fight at a fast food restaurant that left him with a black eye? Ironically, the bruise gave him exactly the rugged, battle-worn look the producers were searching for. So Harington won the role of Jon Snow in Game of Thrones at 25 years old. He went on to portray the character across 62 episodes over all 8 seasons, becoming one of the series' most beloved and iconic figures. Behind that extraordinary success, however, the sudden rise to global fame and the enormous shadow cast by Jon Snow, especially after the character's dramatic resurrection in Season 6, took a heavy emotional toll. Shortly after Game of Thrones concluded in 2019, Harington quietly entered a rehabilitation facility to receive treatment for alcohol dependency and anxiety. He has also spoken publicly about being diagnosed with ADHD, describing the challenges of managing his mental health while navigating worldwide fame. However, Harington steadily expanded his range with acclaimed performances in Netflix's Criminal, UK 2020, and as the ambitious financier, Sir Henry Muck in Season 3 of HBO's Industry, 2024. His film career also includes Pompeii and Marvel's Eternals, while his work on Game of Thrones earned him 2 Primetime Emmy nominations. By 2026, at 39 years old, he has entered a new chapter of his career by making his directorial debut with the short film Psychopomp, continuing to reinvent himself beyond the role that made him a global star. Now it's time to talk about Emilia Clarke. Her audition for Daenerys Targaryen included one unforgettable moment that almost no one saw coming. In the middle of an intensely serious audition, she suddenly broke into the robot dance in front of the producers. Surprisingly, Clarke took the role to replace Tamsin Merchant. Over 8 seasons, she transformed Daenerys from a frightened young woman sold into marriage into the legendary Mother of Dragons and one of the most powerful figures in Westeros. Behind that remarkable rise was a life-threatening battle the public knew nothing about. Shortly after finishing Season 1 in 2011, Clarke suffered a ruptured brain aneurysm that caused a subarachnoid hemorrhage, a form of stroke with an extremely high mortality rate. Emergency surgery saved her life, but she temporarily lost the ability to speak and, at times, could not even remember her own name. In 2013, after filming Season 3, doctors discovered a second aneurysm, forcing her to undergo another painful brain operation. She later revealed that while filming Season 2, she constantly feared she might collapse and die on set. Against extraordinary odds, Clarke made a remarkable recovery, although she has shared that a small portion of her brain no longer functions. That experience inspired her to establish the Same You charity in 2019, helping people recover from brain injuries and strokes. By 2026, at 39 years old, Emilia Clarke remains unmarried and devotes much of her time to charitable work alongside her acting career. In addition to earning 4 Primetime Emmy nominations for Game of Thrones, she has continued to build an impressive resume with leading roles in hit romantic films such as Me Before You and Last Christmas. For many fans, Joffrey Baratheon was the character they loved to hate. At just 18 years old, Jack Gleeson brought the young king to life with a performance that captured his cruelty, arrogance, and unpredictability, earning the IGN People's Choice Award for Best TV Villain. The darker side of that success soon followed. Gleeson received death threats from extreme fans who struggled to separate the actor from the character he portrayed. Combined with his growing discomfort with Hollywood's celebrity culture and the constant public attention, the emotional strain led him to make a surprising decision. Shortly after Joffrey's death on the series in 2014, he stepped away from mainstream acting and announced that he was leaving the profession. Rather than pursuing more high-profile roles, Gleeson returned to university to study philosophy and embraced a much quieter life. In August 2022, he married his longtime partner, Roisin O'Mahony, choosing privacy over fame. By 2026, at 34 years old, Jack Gleeson appears only occasionally in small independent theater productions in his native Ireland, continuing to perform purely for the love of acting while remaining far removed from the glamorous Hollywood lifestyle that once pushed him away from the industry. Among every major role in Game of Thrones, there was only one that was never opened up for auditions. From the very beginning, George R.R. Martin and the producers wanted only Peter Dinklage to play Tyrion Lannister. In 2011, at 42, Dinklage stepped into the role of the brilliant Lannister who was mocked by his own family because of his stature, yet possessed the sharpest mind in all of Westeros. Over 67 episodes across 8 seasons, Tyrion became one of the most beloved characters in the series and the defining role of Dinklage's career. That unwavering confidence from Martin was earned over many years. Dinklage repeatedly turned down stereotypical roles that portrayed little people as fantasy creatures or comic relief, even when those decisions left him struggling financially. His breakthrough performance in The Station Agent, 2003, proved his instincts were right and convinced Martin that no one else could embody the wit, intelligence, and humanity of Tyrion Lannister. The worldwide success of the series also came with its own challenges. Despite becoming one of television's most celebrated actors, Dinklage has continued to speak openly about the prejudice faced by people with achondroplasia and has repeatedly criticized Hollywood for limiting actors with dwarfism to outdated stereotypes. By 2026, at 57 years old, Peter Dinklage has won a record-breaking 4 Primetime Emmy Awards for playing Tyrion Lannister, more than any other actor in the Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series category, while continuing to build an impressive film career with standout roles in X-Men, Days of Future Past, and The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Next, we come to Lena Headey. When Lena Headey played Cersei Lannister at 37, the audition process proved relatively straightforward, thanks in part to the enthusiastic recommendation of her close friend Peter Dinklage. She brought extraordinary depth to the ruthless yet fiercely devoted Queen of House Lannister, earning 5 consecutive Primetime Emmy nominations for one of television's most unforgettable villains. While Cersei fought political wars on screen, Headey was facing deeply personal struggles off-camera. Her marriage to Peter Lawgren began falling apart during the filming of Season 1, a period she has described as being overshadowed by severe postpartum depression. The divorce and subsequent custody battle became so financially draining that she once revealed she had only $5 left in her bank account after paying mounting legal expenses. Another widely discussed chapter involved her former relationship with Jerome Flynn, who played Bronn. Following their difficult breakup, reports claimed the production took special measures to keep the two actors apart whenever possible, minimizing their time together behind the scenes. By 2026, at 52 years old, Lena Headey enjoys a much quieter life after marrying actor Mark Menchaca in 2022. Although her planned series The Abandons was canceled in early 2026, she quickly secured a new role in Red, White, and Royal Wedding, continuing a career that also includes memorable performances in 300 and The Purge franchise. Sophie Turner never expected a school audition to change her future. After her drama teacher encouraged her to audition during the Game of Thrones casting search, she landed the role of Sansa Stark in 2011 at just 15 years old. Over the next 8 seasons, she transformed the sheltered young noblewoman into one of the strongest leaders in Westeros, earning a Primetime Emmy nomination in 2019. Growing up in front of millions of viewers came at a significant personal cost. As Turner matured on screen, she became the target of relentless online bullying and harsh criticism about her appearance. The constant scrutiny contributed to severe depression and an eating disorder, leading her to seek long-term therapy to rebuild her confidence and mental well-being. Her personal life also attracted intense public attention. After marrying singer Joe Jonas in 2019, the couple welcomed two daughters before their relationship ended in a highly publicized divorce. Their custody dispute dominated headlines for months before all legal matters were officially resolved in September 2024. By 2026, at 30 years old, Sophie Turner is focused on raising her two daughters while continuing to rebuild a balanced life beyond the spotlight. At the same time, she has continued expanding her acting career, building on major roles such as Jean Grey in X-Men, Apocalypse, and Dark Phoenix, while pursuing a wider range of film and television projects. Now let's turn to Nikolaj Coster-Waldau. In 2011, at 40, Nikolaj Coster-Waldau secured the role of Jaime Lannister almost immediately after delivering his first few lines during the audition. He brought to life the infamous Kingslayer, a knight despised across the Seven Kingdoms for murdering his king, yet gradually revealed to be one of the series' most layered and deeply human characters. His acclaimed performance earned him multiple Primetime Emmy nominations for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series. To convincingly portray one of Westeros's greatest swordsmen, Coster-Waldau underwent months of intensive sword fighting and combat training. The demanding physical preparation and action sequences left him with recurring muscle and joint injuries that continued to affect him long after Game of Thrones came to an end. Beyond the HBO phenomenon, he continued building an international career with projects ranging from the revenge thriller God is a Bullet, 2023, to portraying William of Normandy in the historical epic King and Conqueror, 2025. Away from acting, he has also devoted significant time to humanitarian work as a Goodwill Ambassador for the United Nations Development Program. By 2026, at 55 years old, Nikolaj Coster-Waldau continues to enjoy a long and happy marriage while remaining active in film and television. Alongside memorable performances in Oblivion with Tom Cruise and the acclaimed thriller Shot Caller, he has successfully balanced an enduring acting career with his international humanitarian work. Would you believe that Iain Glen's calm, commanding voice was one of the biggest reasons he portrayed Ser Jorah Mormont? It was. In 2011, at 49, he took on the role of the exiled knight who devoted his life to serving and quietly loving Daenerys Targaryen. Over 8 seasons, Jorah became one of the series' most loyal and heartbreaking characters, leaving fans devastated by his final sacrifice. Filming the show's demanding battle sequences was far from easy. While shooting the brutal fighting scenes in the Season 5 arena under intense heat, Glen suffered from exhaustion and a minor hip injury, a significant physical toll for an actor already in his 50s. Even so, he remained committed to performing the role with the quiet strength and resilience that defined Jorah throughout the series. His passion for acting never slowed after Game of Thrones. In recent years, he has delivered compelling performances as Chief Engineer Magnus Macmillan, confronting supernatural threats in The Rig, 2023, and as a devoted father struggling to protect his family during World War I in the historical drama The Last Front, 2024. He also continued to build on the international recognition he earned from the Resident Evil franchise and his portrayal of Bruce Wayne in the television series Titans. Away from the cameras, Glen enjoys a stable family life with actress Charlotte Emerson. After more than a decade together, the couple married in 2017 and are raising their 3 children. By 2026, at 65 years old, Iain Glen remains in excellent health and continues to pursue his craft with the same dedication that has defined his career for decades. For John Bradley, everything happened remarkably fast. John Bradley played Samwell Tarly immediately after graduating from the Manchester Metropolitan University School of Theatre. At just 22 years old, he made his professional acting debut as the shy, awkward, yet remarkably intelligent and kind-hearted member of the Night's Watch. Over the course of Game of Thrones, Sam evolved into one of the series' most beloved characters, but the role also brought challenges that extended far beyond the screen. However, Sam was frequently mocked for his weight throughout the series. Bradley found himself facing similar body shaming and online abuse in real life. The constant criticism affected his confidence for years, and he has spoken openly about how difficult it was to separate the public's perception of the character from their treatment of him as a person. Despite those struggles, Bradley continued to prove his versatility with roles beyond Westeros. He appeared alongside Jennifer Lopez as musician Colin Calloway in the romantic comedy Marry Me, 2022, followed by the mysterious Max Drummond in the drama-thriller series North Shore, 2023. His career gained fresh momentum after joining Netflix's acclaimed science fiction series Three Body Problem, where he became part of one of the platform's biggest productions between 2024 and 2026. By 2026, at 37 years old, he continues to expand his career with new projects, building on performances in productions such as Moonfall, 2022, while steadily establishing himself as far more than the actor who played Samwell Tarly. Did you know that Alfie Allen originally walked into the Game of Thrones audition hoping to play Jon Snow? Ironically, not getting the part became the turning point of his career. The producers recognized that his emotional vulnerability and ability to portray inner conflict made him a far better fit for Theon Greyjoy, a young nobleman torn between two families, loyalty and ambition. In 2011, at 24, Allen was cast in the role, appearing in 47 episodes across all 8 seasons and earning a Primetime Emmy nomination in 2019. The darkest chapter of Theon's story also proved to be the most demanding for Allen. Portraying Reek, the broken prisoner psychologically and physically tortured by Ramsay Bolton, took a significant emotional toll. Allen later admitted that he often isolated himself on set and remained in an intense state of psychological tension to sustain the devastating emotional depth the role required. Following Game of Thrones, he continued demonstrating his range with performances as Jock Lewis in the wartime drama SAS, Rogue Heroes, 2022, and the lead role in Paramount Plus's crime thriller Girl Taken, 2026. His resume also includes appearances in the John Wick franchise, a memorable role in Jojo Rabbit, and a Tony Award nomination in 2022 for his acclaimed stage performance in Hangmen. Away from acting, Allen devotes much of his time to fatherhood. By 2026, at 39 years old, he shares custody of his daughter Arrow, who was born in 2018, with his former partner Ali Tiles, while continuing to build a career that reaches far beyond the role that first brought him international recognition. Now, we have Conleth Hill joined Game of Thrones in 2011 at the age of 46, taking on the role of Lord Varys, the mysterious master of whisperers whose true motives remained hidden behind every political move. Across 46 episodes over 8 seasons, he brought quiet intelligence and calculated restraint to one of Westeros's most enigmatic characters. To maintain Varys's distinctive appearance, Hill shaved his head completely throughout years of filming, something he later admitted made him feel uncomfortable whenever he appeared in public between shoots. As the series approached its final seasons, however, he became increasingly frustrated that Varys's political influence and philosophical depth were gradually reduced. After the show ended, Hill spoke candidly about his disappointment with the direction of the character, saying he felt much of Varys's potential had been left unexplored. Outside the world of Westeros, Hill has continued to demonstrate his versatility through acclaimed British television productions, including psychiatrist Aaron Ostergaard in the science fiction drama Infinitum, Subject Unknown, 2021, and Martin in the comedy drama series The Power of Parker, 2023. He has also appeared in the mystery series Magpie Murders and Holding, further reinforcing his reputation as one of Britain's finest character actors. By 2026, at 61 years old, Conleth Hill continues to live an exceptionally private life in Northern Ireland, keeping away from social media and celebrity culture. A 2-time Olivier Award winner long before Game of Thrones, he remains respected for the depth and intelligence he brings to every role, both on stage and on screen. Aidan Gillen had already captivated audiences with his unforgettable performances in Queer as Folk and The Wire when the producers of Game of Thrones actively pursued him for the role of Peter Littlefinger Baelish. In 2011, at 42, he stepped into the shoes of Westeros's master manipulator, a man whose political schemes quietly shaped the fate of the Seven Kingdoms. Gillen portrayed the calculating strategist across 41 episodes over 7 seasons, creating one of television's most memorable villains. His talent for portraying intelligent and dangerous characters continued well beyond Game of Thrones. Audiences praised his commanding performances as crime boss Frank Kinsella in the hit Irish crime drama Kin, 2021 to 2023, while he also showcased a quieter but equally compelling side as the veteran private investigator in the thriller Barber, 2023. The success of Littlefinger, however, came with an unexpected downside. Gillen has acknowledged that becoming so closely associated with manipulative villains sometimes blurred the line for viewers, with some fans admitting they found him intimidating or even disliked him in real life, simply because of the characters he portrayed so convincingly. By 2026, at 58 years old, Aidan Gillen remains in excellent health and continues to be one of the busiest actors working in both Britain and Ireland. Building on acclaimed performances in The Dark Knight Rises, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Peaky Blinders, he has established himself as one of the finest character actors of his generation. When Isaac Hempstead Wright was just 12 years old, he auditioned for Game of Thrones for one very simple reason. It meant he could avoid playing football outside in the freezing winter weather. That small decision unexpectedly changed his life. Cast as Bran Stark in 2011, he watched the character evolve from an adventurous young boy into the mysterious three-eyed raven before ultimately becoming King of the Six Kingdoms in the series finale. Wright portrayed Bran across 40 episodes over all 8 seasons, earning multiple Young Artist Award nominations during the show's remarkable run. Becoming globally famous at such a young age also brought enormous pressure. After Bran was crowned king in the controversial finale, Wright became the target of relentless online criticism and countless internet memes from viewers who were unhappy with the ending, despite having no control over the storyline. His struggles continued away from the cameras. While studying neuroscience at university, the constant attention from classmates and fans made it increasingly difficult to enjoy a normal student life. The overwhelming scrutiny eventually contributed to a period of emotional exhaustion, leading him to take a temporary break from his studies. Even so, Wright continued building his acting career beyond Westeros. He voiced Eggs in the Oscar-nominated stop-motion film The Box Trolls, 2014, and later appeared as Edward in the science fiction thriller Voyagers, 2021, demonstrating his versatility beyond fantasy television. By 2026, at 27 years old, Isaac Hempstead Wright has chosen a much quieter life, focusing primarily on voice acting while pursuing his long-standing passion for science and academic interests away from the spotlight. Finally, let's talk about Richard. Madden was just 24 years old when he landed the role of Robb Stark. At the time, he wasn't chasing stardom. He was simply trying to survive. Living on only a few dollars a day and often relying on friends to help cover rent and meals, Game of Thrones became the career breakthrough that completely changed his life. The unforgettable Red Wedding remains one of television's most shocking moments, but filming Robb's death took a heavy emotional toll on Madden himself. He later admitted that he broke down in tears during his flight home after leaving the set, struggling to let go of a character he had grown deeply attached to. In the years that followed, relentless media speculation about his private life and sexuality added another layer of pressure, forcing him to become increasingly protective of his personal life. By 2026, at 40 years old, Richard Madden remains unmarried and continues to keep his relationships strictly private. Professionally, however, he remains one of Britain's most successful actors, building on his 2019 Golden Globe win for Bodyguard with major roles in Citadel, Cinderella, and Marvel's Eternals. So that's the Game of Thrones in 2026. Their real-life journeys have been just as dramatic as the battle for the Iron Throne. Which cast member surprised you the most, and who was your favorite character in Game of Thrones? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Then and Now updates.